Should I tell him?
No, I'm gonna tell them. Eventually.
Are you whispering? Your secret's safe with me.
Maggie, I want to start with you because I feel like we're not highlighting enough the fact that this is your feature directorial debut, which is absolutely wild with the success the movie has had and how damn good it is. When you first conceived of this idea, was it with the intention of one day getting to direct it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was packaged as like me being director and also writer, and yeah, it was pitched to a producer and who I'd known for a long time and became friends with, and we were looking for a project to do together. So this was one that I pitched, to get off the ground, and he loved it, and we were kind of off to the races pretty quickly once it was pitched.
Looking back at some of your past work in other capacities on animated features, is there any particular thing you learned on one of those past films that was heavily influencing your work on this one?
I mean, all of the jobs, all of the experiences of working on every single movie has been incredible. And you learn from really hard productions, especially. And I think the one job that really prepared me for this is probably for anybody who's coming from a story artist background is a head of story job. That's really prepping you for a directing position, and that was on Lego Ninjago, and the directors I worked with gave me a lot of freedom to write, and that it was in that job that I realized I can actually write scenes, and people like my sensibilities and my jokes, and that's when I really found my comedic voice, I think, and that confidence in myself to actually kind of pitch ideas and not be so afraid.
I'm so glad that movie nudged you in this direction. And speaking of past work, Chris, I was reading another interview you had done where it was mentioned that after Wish Dragon, you had planned to take a break. Why did you want to take a break at that point, and what was it about Maggie's idea that made you say to yourself, like, this is not the time for a break. I got to jump feet first into this?
Well, as Maggie's now experienced, like taking an original idea from pitch to final, it's at least many, many, many years, and it's grueling. It takes a lot out of you. It's also like incredibly satisfying. So I had just finished Wish Dragon, and the good thing was that Aaron Warner, who was the producer that Maggie showed this idea to, we're both really close to him, and he had produced Wish Dragon with me. So he came to me and said, I know you're really tired, but you want to meet Maggie and you want to hear about this thing because you're going to love it, and you two are a good match. And annoyingly, he was right. But I think for me, there were two things that really were personal to me when she told me about it. My wife, who's of 20 years, her name is Maureen Gu, and she's one of the first kind of Korean-American voices in YA. And she's very funny and smart and angry, vengeful, food-loving, fashion-loving. So, and she often was like, why are the female characters not better in animation? Like, get to it. So then I sat down with Maggie, and Maggie's like, I have this vision of these women that are like weird and funny. And I was like, I see you. So that was really, I don't know, I felt like when the movie came out, Maggie was talking about like, I'm making this movie for 12-year-old Maggie. And I felt like a lot of the time I was sort of making the movie for 12-year-old Maureen. And when she told me she liked it, I didn't realize how relieved I was because I'd been kind of wondering the whole time. And then the music part, I think when we first sat down, Maggie had such a clear vision for the girls and the demonology and the tone. And I think it was the music part that was like, how does this relate? And I think, I don't know, I'm a musician, so I have this very earnest belief in the power of music. So I was kind of like tentatively like, I mean, wouldn't it be kind of neat if it was sort of like, and this is cheesy, but Maggie's a K-pop, like an OG K-pop fan. She has the voice of an angel, by the way. And so like she has so many years of living through, she has a relationship with music, how it moves you and it connects you to community. And so I think we both loved that idea. And once you combine all that stuff, then the Hunters and the Honmoon and the fandom, it all just becomes essential to building the film, building the world. And
the stars align so much.
It's such weird. And then it kept happening, like all the way to casting the girls at the end and these singers, like the universe just kept providing,
Yeah.
which I think is a credit to having an important and original idea.
I'll jump to casting next then. I love asking this question, especially when you have a roster of voice actors and singers in this movie that are just like pitch perfect for their roles. Of all the characters in this movie, which one was the easiest to find the perfect fit for casting-wise? Where it was like the right person magically appeared, but then I also want the opposite, the character that took the most legwork to find the perfect fit for.
Oh.
Was it Yoonjin?
Ooh.
She was so good.
Yeah, she was very good.
Yoonjin plays Celine, and she's so good, right? I mean, it was so easy to direct her.
Yeah.
And she's like such a skilled actress, but I think also she's had a hard role. Like it's this sort of flawed mother figure. And to make that character believable and sympathetic as much as she's flawed, I was like, that I expected that to be so hard, and she was like, whoosh, nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lee Byung-hun too. He is Lee Byung-hun, and we knew that we wanted to cast him because he had this charismatic voice, and that's what Kima is. It's just, and we tried all these different designs for Kima, and ultimately scrapped that whole idea of it being this monster and having a body, and just realized, well, it's just a voice, so it should just be a mouth, and so that's why he's this flaming mouth at the end. And we just love how he just has, Lee Byung-hun has this very charismatic voice and is so sultry, and like as soon as he read the first line of dialogue, we just knew, like we looked at each other and we're like, oh gosh, this is
I would like to
incredible.
go to hell with this one.
Yes.
Take me.
I love talking about how things evolve each step of the way. So that character could be the answer to this question. But is there any other one that maybe changed the most from initial idea to what we see in the final film as far as character look goes?
Good
Question.
The look of the character? Unfortunately, I don't think anybody really informed the design of the characters because casting came pretty late. And so all of our models were designed and everything was pretty set. So, but I feel like the casting just perfectly fits with the design of the characters. And maybe it's because all of our actors and voice actors our voice vocalists are just, they just embody their character, and just the personalities just fit them so perfectly.
The only one I've had the chance to chat with so far is Arden, and just so much of what she said, I'm like, this feels so personal to you as well. Like, and also one thing I love about your movie, not to take up all my interview time blabbing about how good it is, but the idea of this being made for 12-year-old Maureen and 12-year-old Maggie, but still being so universal and making so many people on this planet feel seen. Like, what a special achievement.
I mean, thank you. I personally made it for my 12-year-old self, but also myself now. I think, both Chris and I wanted to challenge ourselves as storytellers. And for me, it was really a challenge to see like how far my talents can go and what kind of film that I can make. And so we leaned into a story that's a non-origin story, which is very, very hard to do. And with a superhero movie and new lore and mythology and new cultures that we're exposing an audience to, and that was very, very hard, but we were like, we're gonna do it, even if it kills us, and it almost did, but we made out of it.
Same with the music. I think we both were so determined to like integrate music and have music at the core, but do it in a new way that felt more like truly pop. And there were like many nights where we're like, are we crazy? This is just never going to work.
I'm also fascinated by the challenge of animating to music. Like, it's hard enough just animating a conversation. It's hard enough animating a fight scene. But then on top of that, you're also animating both of those things to music at points. And
But ImageWorks, Sony Pictures ImageWorks was so down for the challenge. And they were like, the things that we thought were very challenging, like the dance fighting and the choreography and like you say, like just that, all of that music stuff, like integrated into fight choreography and comedy and stuff, they're just so experienced. They were just able to balance all of it. And some of the action sequences I really worried about, because we actually didn't flesh out a lot of it in storyboards, but they were just like, we got this. And they just executed a lot
Yeah,
of it.
it's
Even
incredible.
the dance choreography. Sometimes we didn't get the choreo reference that we needed, and we're like, oh no! But they were so great about creating it.
Something else. I had so many follow-up questions pop into my mind. First, because both of you said you really wanted to challenge yourselves on this movie. I'm glad we're celebrating it right now, but I can't wait to see more from both of you as animation directors going forward. What is a new skill that is now in your directing toolkit, so to speak, that you would be most eager to apply to a future film, whether it's another film in this series or anything else you
Oh
tackle?
gosh,
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Are you scared of anything now? I feel like we've kind of tackled everything.
I'm kind of excited to use some things that I figured out.
Yeah.
One of my, just personally, things that I always wanted as a songwriter, and songwriters everywhere will now tremble at this idea, but like one of the things that was really fun, for example, in the climax, was we had this wall-to-wall song, but we also had a moment, almost a minute and a half of like Jinu's moment of sacrifice and this kind of non-song moment. And we didn't know how to score that. And we had this wonderful experiment where we took 150 of the track, pieces of the track, split it out into stems, and just working with the music editor to like pull the pizzicato strings and the synth in one melody line and one piano chord from Free, and put together. And again, this was very crude, and our amazing composer Marcelo actually did it, but finding a way to kind of stitch together pop music and dramatic storytelling and move into and out of them. And I remember like sort of, we worked on it, and then I was like, okay, we should show this to Maggie. Oh my God, I hope she doesn't just like throw us out the window, because I didn't know if it worked, So I think there's those kind of high wire moments like that. And that, I remember Maggie going away with certain jokes and being like, I'm going to board a joke and I'm going to come show it to you. And I'm not going to say anything, but I think I can make. So there was that kind of, I don't know, you have to go out on a limb in certain moments and just make exactly the movie that's in your head, and then show it to your partner, and then eventually the world. So
What a good partner you two are for each other too, which I can't believe how beautifully this all came together. I'm sure you know what question I must start to wrap on, because I'm sure you're being asked about a sequel nonstop. I'm sorry, I must do it. I think I'm going to find a safe way to get at it at least, because everybody wants a sequel to something they love, but you don't want to make a sequel just for the sake of making a sequel. You want to have purpose. So for each of you right now, what would you say is your personal priority, or maybe a top goal that would be guiding your sequel making compass the most?
that's a thoughtful question.
I'll try.
I think it's it's just a story that we want to see. It's just like this first movie. It's a collection of all the things that we wanted to see in animation and the type of storytelling we wanted to see, and so I think the second one will also be driven by that. Yeah.
Do I dare ask you to add anything?
I would just say there's different forms that stories can take, and when you're doing an original and a 90-minute feature, there's a kind of framework that's pretty satisfying and conventional, and this film follows that framework, even though a lot of the ingredients are unique. But the idea of adding a chapter immediately means you can't just repeat that structure, and I think that's really fun to play in rather than the same old thing.
Can't wait to see whatever you cook up. I have a quick second, so I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions to wrap up, because as we've already established in this interview, making movies is hard, but I like taking the time to stop and really just recall the joy you had along the way and the pride you take in your work. So can each of you recall the single moment of making K-Pop Demon Hunters that brought you the most joy as an artist?
I think one of them for me was seeing a scene that became I boarded the date scene, the first meet between Rumi and Jinu 6 years ago as a concept, and it hasn't changed that much from then to final film, and then from that date we created another one, the duet date, and then going to Air Studios in London and seeing an entire orchestra perform that score just brought tears to my eyes and just proved to me how far we had come, and how far the little idea had come. So that was really incredible.
I think it snuck up on me. Obviously, it's the most personal pride I felt. My son is half Korean. He's 5. And he's like kind of figuring out his whole identity. But his grandparents really want him to speak Korean. And he's like been a little resistant. And then just in the last weekend, I got back from one of these trips. And we've been trying to get him to, instead of calling me daddy, he's supposed to call me appa. And he wouldn't do it. And then I think he saw the movie. He saw how cool everyone thought it was. And so he came running down the driveway, appa. And I got super fucking emotional because it was just not I didn't realize that I sort of had a lot of skin in the game as far as like how he thought about himself and having this identity. And all of a sudden it hit me like, oh, like you're going to relate to the story differently as you get older. And so just as a dad, I'm like, crap, super emotional for me.
It's a good story to repeat.
Yeah.
Keep repeating it. That's a beautiful thing. Huge congratulations and thank you. Like, what a joy to be on this side of the industry and be able to cover something that brings so many people together, because it's challenging to find that nowadays. So thank you and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.